when you find someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo.
You're not going to beat Canelo until somehow over a long period of time Canelo beats.
Canelo Alvarez didn't hold back at the press conference, firing back at Terence Crawford with a sharp declaration that Crawford simply isn't in his league. Canelo criticized fighters like Crawford who focus solely on surviving all 12 rounds instead of pushing the pace and delivering a fierce, crowd-pleasing contest. According to Canelo, this overly cautious approach drains the energy from a match, leaving fans underwhelmed and dissatisfied with the lack of explosive exchanges. Former champion Kell Brook, who has first-hand experience battling world-class opponents such as Gennady Golovkin and Terence Crawford, stepped in to share his thoughts on this blockbuster matchup. Brook issued a clear warning, underscoring that this bout represents an entirely different level of challenge for Crawford. He explained that Canelo brings a stylistic complexity and strategic depth that Crawford hasn't encountered before. Where Crawford is more compact and relies on his agility, skill, and rapid combinations, Canelo blends sheer power, elite-level ring IQ, and a versatile tactical arsenal that poses a distinct and unfamiliar threat.
It's a wow fight, it's two supreme athletes fighting against each other, but you've got to sway towards Canelo. Crawford's gonna have to, move up, and I knew when I got Golovkin, there's a big difference, especially with someone that, fighting a middleweight, a mediocre world champion is okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, it's a different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
I think Crawford's still got the legs. Obviously, he's very much got great IQ.
Brook continued his assessment by spotlighting one of Canelo's most dangerous traits, his ability to adjust mid-fight and physically dominate his opponents. This kind of in-fight adaptability creates a suffocating and intense environment that demands a completely different mental and physical approach. Brook stressed that dealing with a strong, multifaceted fighter like Canelo isn't about executing the usual game plan, it requires an evolved mindset and extreme preparation. In his view, Crawford is walking into a situation far removed from what he's used to, and he may not be ready for the full magnitude of this challenge.
He's still got the legs to be maybe outmoving Canelo if he needs to.
Well, I don't know, I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. He's more, he kind of sets his feet. He's cute with how he approaches, chucking shots and moving. You know what I mean? I think it's a different fight to Mayweather, and Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he boxed Mayweather. Like I say, it's one of them what we've got to tune into and watch. Both unbelievable fighters, but I'd have to favour Canelo. Just his size and his experience and just his ring generalship, he's got confidence, he's big.
Renowned boxing commentator Jim Lampley offered his seasoned perspective, expressing high confidence in Canelo Alvarez's chances to emerge victorious. While Lampley acknowledged Crawford's remarkable talents and pristine record, he emphasized that Canelo's resume, filled with victories against top-tier fighters across multiple divisions, gives him a crucial advantage. Lampley highlighted Canelo's physical strength, mental resilience, and, most importantly, his ability to dictate pace and space within the ring. This control allows him to impose his rhythm on the fight, something Lampley believes could be a defining factor. He also pointed out that Canelo's defensive capabilities and exceptional counterpunching could effectively disrupt Crawford's offensive rhythm. Lampley's analysis ultimately painted Canelo as the more complete, battle-hardened warrior who may very well have the tools to neutralize Crawford's brilliance.
He's a great defender. He has the most solid punch resistance of anybody in the sport. Nobody's ever knocked him off balance. Nobody's ever really knocked him down. There's only one official knockdown in his career, and it was because he bounced off the ropes when Jose Cotto hit him with a hard shot to the chest. And the referee employed a strict interpretation of the rules and said, oh, the ropes held you up, so that's a knockdown. He's never been put on his back by anybody. rides horseback every morning. His legs are the strongest in the sport. You're not going to beat Canelo until somehow over a long period of time Canelo beats himself. If he gets tired of all the discipline he has had to employ to make all the money he's made, if he has enough giant ranches in the Yucatan, if he has enough beautiful horses, if he has had enough unforgettable dinners with Mexican billionaires in Mexico City and Vegas, then maybe. But my guess is he will retire without incurring another loss because it's important to him to do that.
Which implies you like him against Bud Crawford.
I do like him against Bud Crawford, but I do think that it's a great fight. Now, I could change my mind when we get closer. Bud Crawford, to me, is a latter-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the multiple skills of Sugar Ray Robinson. He can defend or attack. He has a deep inner mean streak that he can employ at any moment in a fight to get what he wants. Before the fight against, help me out here,
Madrimov was his last fight. Spence?
Spence.
Yes.
Before the fight against Errol Spence, there were quite a lot of people in the sport, in boxing media, who were saying, I like Spence to win the fight. I was one of those people who said, no way. Errol Spence doesn't have the depth.
When evaluating Terence Crawford's career, there's no denying the extraordinary level of technical excellence, punching power, and ring intelligence he brings to every fight. He has methodically climbed the ranks to solidify his place among the sport's all-time elite. However, despite all these achievements, there's a curious gap in how he's perceived by the wider audience. Inside boxing circles, Crawford's cerebral style and tactical mastery are deeply respected. Yet, mainstream fans, who are often drawn to brawls and action-heavy performances, tend to undervalue his precise, calculated approach. Crawford relies on fluid defense, sharp counters, and strategic pressure, crafting his victories through finesse rather than brute force. While this style consistently delivers results, it doesn't always align with what casual viewers crave: explosive exchanges and non-stop aggression. This disconnect leaves Crawford somewhat underappreciated, despite his obvious greatness.
Crawford, on the other hand, he has been walking down his fighters, and people don't see that but me. For some reason, when I had that tape, people were screaming cat. And it's like David Evanesian, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Gamboa, a meme machine. Even against Madrimov, the way he won the fight was by fighting. It wasn't Floyd Mayweather sticking. This guy has been too athletically gifted, and I mean explosive, hard punching, and too strong for his ops. When he's in orthodox, he boxes more. When he switches, he becomes a puncher. And now he's coming out southpaw. He ends you. He is not, you gotta watch him fight. He does do athletic things where his hands and his feet work together and he catches you for sure. But what he mostly do is he punishes and he bullies his ops because he walks you down and whips your ass. He's an
Boxing trainer and analyst Brian Bomac McIntyre provided a counterpoint to the prevailing Canelo favoritism. He acknowledged Canelo's high-level skills and accomplishments but firmly stated that Crawford possesses the superior technical toolkit. Bomac broke it down clearly: Crawford's speed, accuracy, and command of the ring offer a strategic advantage that should not be underestimated. He noted that Crawford enters every fight mentally prepared and laser-focused, which often gives him the edge even before the first bell rings. That mental sharpness, paired with his refined skill set, allows Crawford to not only outmaneuver his opponents but to completely outthink them. While he respects Canelo's strength and veteran savvy, Bomac believes Crawford's cerebral approach, when executed flawlessly, could dominate even the most dangerous foe. His view centers on the idea that this fight won't be decided by brute force alone, but by intellect and execution.
Canelo Alvarez. It was interesting to see the comments from Canelo and how he sort of assessed Bud Crawford's career. I almost feel after the Spence fight that was like an exclamation point on everything he's done, maybe from the critics who never gave him credit. But it almost seems like Canelo was downplaying his achievements. What do you make when you make of that? Is that to build the fight? Because it sells itself.
Well, I can tell you like this. I think Crawford rebuttal was everybody always say, he hasn't fought nobody, or everybody that he fought was a no name. But I'm gonna tell you like this: what Crawford said, well, they was something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal.
Not everyone might want to go against Canelo. You know, I don't think there's anyone else in boxing who you would ask and say this is a possible task for Crawford because his pound-for-pound abilities. And apparently no rehydration clause. Am I hearing that right? He wants full smoke at that weight.
Let's go, man. That's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best? So let's go test ourselves.
Look, I appreciate you taking this time. We don't get to speak all the time, so it's good to get you over here. And maybe we'll catch up later in 5 weeks. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Canelo Alvarez's business manager, a key architect behind one of boxing's most financially successful careers, added another layer to the narrative by speaking about Canelo's physical assets. According to him, Canelo's body isn't just powerful, it's built for endurance and impact resistance. He claimed that Canelo's physical conditioning, structure, and defensive mechanics have been refined to withstand punishment at the highest levels, enabling him to absorb blows without showing wear and tear. This unique durability, he argued, sets Canelo apart from other top-tier fighters.
Hope that Crawford didn't get any ideas from Skull. I don't think he did. I think Crawford is a hell of a fighter and it's going to be a hell of a fight.
How does weight play a part in that fight?
Oh, what?
How does weight play a part in that fight, do you feel?
Weight?
Weight. The size difference.
Oh, no, I don't think, that doesn't, like you saw today, the guy was like, I don't know how much taller, it didn't really play into it either, but Crawford is a hell of a fighter, and you saw today when they did the face-off in the ring, they're virtually height-wise, they are virtually the same. Crawford might even be a little bit taller, but when you look at Canelo, the way he's built, his legs, his shoulders, his neck, that is why he's never been hurt. And he's never been hurt fighting fighters at a substantially higher weight, substantially bigger than him, and they still couldn't hurt him. Yeah. And then you look at Crawford, who is a smaller guy, is moving up 2 weight classes, tried at 154, barely won, couldn't hurt Madrimov, and now he's going to go against the guy with the best chin in the sport. That's why probably odds maker have Canelo as a favorite. But having said all of that, Crawford is just a hell of a fighter. I was there when he fought, I was ringside when he fought.
Expanding on that point, the manager explained that Canelo's ability to endure punishing hits without breaking down has helped him remain at the top for so long. He credited Canelo's core strength, muscle composition, and ring awareness for his rare ability to dodge serious injury, even against hard-hitting opponents. In contrast, he positioned Crawford as physically smaller and potentially less durable. Citing Crawford's previous performances, he hinted that while Crawford is highly skilled, he might lack the sheer physicality required to break through Canelo's granite defense and rugged frame.
The way he just totally neutralized Spence's strengths was absolutely, it was breathtaking to watch this. So Crawford is a very skilled fighter, very smart fighter, but again, he's never fought anybody like Canelo. You look at Canelo's resume. Canelo fought, now it's 21 former or current world champions. There's only 2 fighters in the history of boxing who have more than that. One of them is Floyd Mayweather with 24, and the other one is Manny Pacquiao with 23. And he's the only active fighter who fought so many world champions. So I think experience will play a big factor as well. You look at Canelo's resume, but it is, I think, the biggest fight that can be made. I think it's the biggest fight the sport has seen going back to as long as I can remember. I think it's just simple. I've done some big fights with Floyd Mayweather, and I did Floyd Mayweather and Canelo. I promoted that, so I think this one is bigger.
Many analysts across the boxing world agree that Terence Crawford is among the most skilled and intelligent boxers of this era. However, they've also been vocal about the challenges he'll face in stepping up in weight to take on Canelo Alvarez, a fighter many consider one of the greatest pound-for-pound in the sport's history. Experts suggest that at this stage in Crawford's career, radical stylistic changes could be dangerous, even counterproductive. Instead, he is expected to stick with his well-tested strategy, using surgical counterpunching, defensive discipline, and patience to outsmart opponents. But going up in weight presents a new physical battlefield. The difficulty lies in maintaining the same finesse and timing while dealing with Canelo's strength and size. Analysts believe that if Crawford is to succeed, he must flawlessly execute his familiar approach without taking unnecessary risks, especially in unfamiliar territory.
How is Terence Crawford going to beat Canelo Alvarez? We need to talk about it. When we look at the guys who've had success with Canelo, we'll look at Bivol, we'll look at Golovkin, we'll look at Floyd, and we'll look at Lara. Yes, I'll throw Lara in there, why not? I think all these fights are absolutely irrelevant coming into this bout. Some of them are just dated, or some of these guys' style just cannot apply. For example, a guy in Lara. If Crawford wanted to fight how Lara fought Canelo, he would probably gas out in 7 rounds, or if he made it 12, he just wouldn't get that decision. It's that simple. Let's take a guy in Golovkin. Crawford just simply does not have the punching power, nor do I think he has the gas tank at 68. He's not a good enough puncher to try to fight Canelo like Golovkin. He doesn't have the physical traits even in the chin department. Then you have Floyd Mayweather. While both can have a bit of similarities, the speed, reflexes, technical prowess, IQ, timing, counterpunching, lateral movement, it's just too much from Floyd. I don't think Bud could take much from Floyd's game plan to implement it into his own success in September. And then you have Dimitri, the speed, the technical prowess, the IQ, the length. It's too much. So essentially, Terence Crawford is going to have to beat Canelo in a way that nobody has ever beaten him or gave him any issues in. I'm going to tell you exactly how Crawford's going to fight. He's going to fight like his damn self. It's too late in his career to change up the game plan. It's too late in his career for him to want to change up the game plan coming to a fight of this magnitude with a style he's never fought before. That will be a recipe for disaster. He's going to be more than likely off the back foot. He's going to be looking for counter shots. And I think there will be a point in this fight where he's simply just trying to survive. I like Crawford, amazing pound for pound fighter. A different animal at 168. This is one of the greatest of all time. I see win scenarios for him, but I don't see him being realistic. I can see him fighting off the back foot, using his speed, timing, and feet to stay away from Canelo, but that's very, very, very unlikely, damn near impossible.
Nico Ali Walsh, a rising boxer and commentator carrying the legacy of Muhammad Ali, weighed in with an insightful perspective. He described the matchup as extremely close, with no clear favorite. Walsh noted that Crawford has been training with heavyweights during recent sparring sessions, which speaks volumes about his preparation. This training, according to Walsh, shows that Crawford is taking the size gap seriously and is working hard to offset it with hands-on experience against bigger, stronger bodies. The result? A fight that's as unpredictable as it is thrilling. Walsh argued that this rigorous preparation gives Crawford a genuine shot at overcoming Canelo's size and power. In his view, both fighters bring unique advantages, making the outcome a toss-up. The fight, he said, truly feels like a 50-50 proposition where either man could walk away victorious.
Of Canelo's team, Canelo's one of my favorite fighters. He's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. But you know, I have to be Team Bud because me and Bud are cool, and I have so much belief in Bud. And I know who he is as a fighter. He is one of the greats. So he could do anything, he wants.
And being around both of them and seeing how they work and train and things like that, what makes both of them the fighters they are, in your opinion?
I've watched Bud, so for Bud in particular, he's calm in everything he does, and that kind of calm is scary to watch because it shows experience. You can see that he's been doing this for decades. You can see it with his shadow.
Legendary trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas brought a balanced, analytical view to the discussion. He acknowledged that Canelo undoubtedly holds key advantages in terms of size, strength, and punching power. These physical elements could shift the fight dramatically if they come into play. However, Atlas also celebrated Crawford's incredible technical ability, ring IQ, hand speed, and unshakable determination. For Atlas, the intrigue of the bout lies in its contrasting dynamics, muscle versus mind, pressure versus precision. He described the showdown as a classic clash of styles, where both men are capable of winning if they execute their game plan perfectly. Atlas concluded by reiterating that this is as close as it gets in professional boxing, a high-level chess match fought with fists, where the smarter, better prepared fighter will prevail. For him, this bout is the definition of a true 50-50 fight.
He's human. So he had a few hiccups. He won the fight. He's Terence Crawford. A lot of people say, "Oh, Teddy, you make him so good. You're always saying how great Crawford is." You know, but who's he beating? He unified the, what was his first division? Lightweight, then he unified the junior, then he unified the junior welter, then he unified the welter. I think I got the weight classes right. It doesn't matter. He unified like 3 different weight classes. He moved up in weight. You guys are tired of me saying it. I look at him. Look, Canelo's special too. I get it. And he's bigger. I get that too. And everyone's going to say, well, after Madrimov fight again, had a couple hiccups. Now he's stepping up another weight class. Now he's got to fight Canelo, who's even bigger, stronger, better puncher. You know, a unified champion that he's been. You know, all of that stuff. He's not going to be able to handle it. I ask this question. See, I go to the other side. I say, okay, yeah, can Canelo handle the smaller guy who's going to be faster, who's going to be slicker, who's going to be better defensively, who's going to have better legs, you know, who's going to be able, sometimes Canelo at this point in his career can slow down a little bit. They're both getting older.
That wraps up today's analysis. Be sure to stay tuned for further updates as we get closer to what could be one of the most iconic clashes in modern boxing history.